channel, and if you're new, hey, what's up? My name is Tanya, and thank you all so much for joining in and watching this video. I cannot believe that it has been five and a half months since I have filmed last. Half of a year almost. That is crazy. I never imagined that shortly after my 2-year anniversary, I would have to take almost a half a year off for a medical leave. And then I never imagined that 1 month would lead into 2 months, and that would lead into 3 months, and that we would be at this point where we are now. It's been obviously devastating, and it's been scary. It's not anymore, thank goodness, so don't worry. Everything is getting back under control. I have only been well enough for about 48 hours now. I am filming on Thursday, I believe it's the 20th, so I'm not sure when I'll get this up, but I'm going to get it up as quickly as possible, but it's late in the evening, so it's going to be at least a day or two, because it's already like 10 p.m. at night. So just bear with me, and I'm just going to let you guys know now. Unfortunately, I am going to be going out of town for about a week and a half, and so it's gonna put a lull in filming again, but at least I'm gonna be back at it. And while I was down for the count, whenever I had like a good day, we would do some reorganizing, and I have a new lighting setup, which I meant to fix earlier. So I have 2 new lights, so everything's brighter. I have a new desk, new drawers, new storage area. So we've been working hard on the back end with the setup and the business end of things, but it has been a very slow process because I was so sick that I couldn't do too much for too long or too fast. But I am so sorry that you guys have been so scared and so worried, and that I just didn't have any energy to, you know, communicate with all of you. I read every comment that came in, and I want to let you guys know from this point forward, I am going to make sure that I heart every comment, so that way you guys know that I have read them, and I will do my best to reply. But it is really hard for me to reply because of the way everything's going right now. My medical condition is not totally stabilized. I am going to be going out of town, and then I'm still trying to get everything totally tightened up in this room and the storage, donations, giveaways. So I just don't have the time based on how everything is going to be able to respond to every comment. But I do want you guys to know that I am reading everything. So I want to be able to heart every comment and respond when I can, but I don't want anybody to feel left out. And I'm gonna start video shout outs in the new year, because right now I just want to focus on trying to get some content back out for you guys. And so just bear with me until the new year, because I only have a couple of filming days that I can get in. Hopefully a migraine doesn't hit me or something in the meantime, or a bad arthritis flare-up, because I just got over a 19-day migraine. I have never in my life had a 19-day migraine ever. They've maxed out at 7 days. I've had horrific 5-day migraines. I have never had a 19-day migraine in my life. Everything swelled up in my jaw, all through my sinuses, up through here. My eyes were puffed out. Everything, my whole face was puffed out. I could barely eat. My jaw hurt so badly. Everything through my head was lumpy down my neck. So we still don't know everything that's going on, why everything's being triggered to this degree, this intensity. So I'm not 100% sure that the couple of filming days, I only have 3 filming days before I leave, the way Christmas is, because I obviously can't film on Christmas. And then there's a packing day, there's a traveling day, and we're going on a cruise. So we thought we were going to have to cancel that altogether because my health was so unstable, but it looks like the family will be able to get together. And as always, Kurt's family moves into the house to take care of my furry babies when I'm gone. So I'm just going to pick up with shout outs and all of that in the new year and really try my hardest to get content out to you guys before then. So let me just start with like the severe stuff that I do not have, so you guys are not freaking out. I don't have colon cancer, which was a really big concern, breast cancer, which was a really big concern, leukemia, cervical or ovarian cancer. I do not have a tubular pregnancy or a severe case of endometriosis where surgery is required. Those were all of the main diseases, illnesses that the doctors were really concerned about. So the last video where you guys saw for, I believe it was the winner announcement, I can't remember, but a lot of you caught me when I looked away from the camera because my eyes glazed over and I was about to start crying. It was because all of those different diagnoses were in the back of my mind because the doctors were prepping me for essentially the worst case scenario, but they really thought that there was a good chance of one of those diagnoses being a likelihood because I had so many symptoms that were really pointing in that direction, and the way my blood work was coming back, and they had to keep doing more and more tests to then make sure that I did not have it, to rule it out, because things were coming back in favor of. So I know a few of you guys caught the fact that I was about to break down in shambles when Kurt was in the video with me and I had to just look away, and by the end of the video I was in so much pain that I had to tell him like we have to wrap it up, and I had to cut the video off because I physically couldn't even sit up anymore to keep talking and putting on like a happy face for the camera, and that's why. So that's all good news, and there's nothing serious. They did add on a diagnosis of fibromyalgia, which apparently is common, especially with people who have rheumatoid arthritis, because of your nerve endings just going crazy when you're under stress. And so that's part of the reason why my body's been in so much pain, because I have fibromyalgia right now, and my rheumatologist said he's actually shocked that in 11 years of having arthritis that I've never had an episode of fibromyalgia, but I just never have. And it's because I've always been so active and in the gym, and I haven't been able to work out in about a year longer. And I've always been like crazy active, like in like OCD in the gym, and now that I've been so sick for so long, and it just completely caught up with me heavily in July, but it really started in June where I was noticing significant differences in my body. I was starting to become more and more debilitated. So they also thought that there was such a high likelihood, I have notes so I don't forget things. They also thought that there was such a high likelihood of like breast cancer and things like cervical cancer because of family history. So based on family history and the symptoms that I was having, that was really steering the doctors in that direction, and then putting me in my early 30s. It was just a lot pointing to that direction, but at least I do not have any of those symptoms or any of those cancers, thank God. So, oh my gosh. But that's why I was so terrified when I was filming, and you guys, a lot of you guys caught that. And I was going through a lot, not just with myself, but my mom has been extremely sick for over a year now, and there's been a few times where I thought I was going to lose her, and then there was a moment where I thought I was going to lose my dad because of some heart complications. and then my grandpa died. And I couldn't even be in my hometown for when my grandpa passed because I was in the hospital myself. So that was really hard. I'm trying really hard to like maintain myself. I took a Xanax to kind of keep myself calm. So the fact that I lost my only grandparent, my heart is racing, and I couldn't be home for him and my family. It was my paternal grandpa. I'm shaking. And I couldn't be there for my mom or my dad. They were pretty much equally close to my grandpa. Even though it was my dad's dad, my mom was just as close to my grandpa as my dad, if not even closer. It tore me up inside that I couldn't be there for my parents and that I couldn't be there for my grandpa. I got to at least talk to him on the phone about a week before he passed. Oh, I'm just shaking. But the fact that I wasn't there is still eating me up. And so that was really hard. And I knew that, you know, during the time that I was really sick, he was going to kind of be on his way out as well. But there was nothing that I could do because we're in different countries as well. It's not like we're even in the same country. And I was just so extremely sick, and I was constantly in the hospital, constantly hooked up on IVs, constantly having tests run, seeing different specialists, and there was nothing that I could do. It was out of my control. It was out of my grandpa's control, and it was just a horrifying time. And then adding on top of that, Luby, one of my furry babies, you know, my littlest munchkin, he's been battling his own disease, and he's not in pain or anything like that. The vet has reassured me over and over and over again. It's just a constant battle. We're at the vet at a minimum every 4 weeks, sometimes sooner, and he's had peaks where it's been so much worse, and we've been in the emergency room with him, and then there's other times where it's just his normal 4-week checkup. But the fact that that's always looming over me, because for me, my dogs are my children, and some people can understand that. Other people will never be able to wrap their minds around how you can treat your animals like they're actually human babies. But I was told at 21 that I would never be able to have kids of my own, and at that point is when I had rescued Romeo, and then I continued rescuing my other dogs since then. So I've always had that mentality that they are my children, because I knew I'd never have my own. And they were there through my support system during my abusive relationship before Kett, and they got me through those times, and they've gotten me through a lot. So whenever Luby or Romeo or my other two guys, I adopted them with Kett, so they have my whole heart, but Luby and Romeo were there with me since the beginning. There's that extra difference where it just, I need to do everything in my power almost with those two. And so when Luby is down, I go into like this breakdown mode, and I just, every ounce of energy has to go into making sure he's okay, and nothing else in the world matters to me. And I will be in that emergency room overnight until 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And then if he has to spend the night there, I am there the next day during visiting hours until they kick me out, literally until they kick me out and tell me that he needs to go back and rest. Like, it's that type of a situation. So dealing with all of that has been really difficult too. So I also, oh my gosh, there's just so much to tell you guys. So I do have a less severe case of endometriosis because they found like abnormal tissue. I did have that miscarriage. now it's going to be 2 years this coming March, and I've made a video, if you guys remember that. Some of you may not, but I have a playlist that's like personal updates, my stories, and that was a completely like unexpected anomaly of a pregnancy, because I am on every kind of medication that either prevents pregnancies, induces miscarriages, it has horrible side effects, and it's not like I'm taking those on purpose. Those are to treat my rheumatoid arthritis, because I have like the most severe case of it. It's to treat migraines, it's to treat my sleep disorder, my PTSD, my anxiety. So I'm on all these different medications. I take birth control, and I am OCD about it. Every day, 4 p.m. I take my pill, and I have been taking it since I was 16 at 4. I've never missed a pill. So the fact that I even got pregnant was like just this anomaly. And then I miscarried, and when I had miscarried, they figured out that I had a 5-centimeter cyst on my left ovary, that my ovary had torsioned, and that I also had a molar pregnancy. And they were monitoring me for cancer because of the molar pregnancy, that could have developed into cancer. So that was another reason why they were on high alert for cancer. So it turns out that I have all of these like floating fibroids and cysts in my stomach that they can't explain, but none of the cysts are large enough that they need to remove. They don't really need to remove them until they hit 5 centimeters, and right now they're between 2 to 3 centimeters. And I have dislocated ribs by 2 inches. And they've been dislocated since I was about 20, 12 years ago, because of my ex-abusive husband. He caused it during one of our encounters, so now I'm in like a rehab trying to fix the problem. So I have this hernia in my stomach that rises above my diaphragm, and it causes like this really intense pain. I don't even know how to explain it, but the pain is really bad. It's what causes like all of a sudden when I get those really abrupt hiccups on camera that like I always laugh about, but that's one of the side effects. Whenever I just touch under my rib cage, it's always been really, really sore, and I've never known why. I just kind of thought like it must have something to do with my breast implants and the weight or something like that. I never in a million years imagined that I've been walking around for 12 years with dislocated ribs and a herniated stomach because of the dislocated ribs. I want to just murder him. But I am in therapy, and it's intensive and it's draining. We've been making major breakthroughs, but it's been really tough too. So I was going through the therapy sessions once a week for trying to get past that while I've been so sick, and really tackling like the root of the issues and going all the way back to when I first started dating him. And it's been really mind-opening or eye-opening. Even things that I've carried forward into like my current relationship with Kurt and things like that I'm not even gonna get into, but just it's unbelievable what those 11 years did to me with the one person, and how it's affected my life coming forward. So that's part of the pain, obviously, is the dislocated ribs and the hernia, and then the endometriosis, and I'm on hormone therapy for it. It wasn't severe enough where I needed to go in and have surgery for it, thank God. I'm on quite the hormone therapy though, and I have good days and bad days because of that, so that's probably not helping my arthritis flare-ups. Now the other thing that just happened out of the blue, which I didn't even know was possible. But I had 1.4 pounds of stool blocked and obstructed in my intestines. And it almost ruptured my intestines, and then I would have gone septic. I was actually borderline septic, and I had no idea that that was the case because I was still going to the bathroom. But when they started doing x-rays, my entire intestine from the bottom all the way around the stomach showed actual blockages, and then certain areas showed obstructions. And your intestines are huge, and I had it going all the way around. So they were extremely inflamed for months. Like, I'm talking 4.5 months of inflammation, and like so painful. Like, you couldn't even touch the stomach, and I had to do massages on it, and the amount of medication I had to go on. I had to go on like this Miralax for 30 days with a double dose of it for the first week. I had to drink 4 bottles of magnesium citrate. I had to do enemas, colon cleanses, like a hydrotherapy. I had to do suppository laxatives, fiber, different probiotics. I had to do 2 colonoscopy preps. Just to try to get everything out of there. It was a freaking nightmare. Like, nightmare. I'm not even gonna go into the like details, but I'm honest with you guys, so I'm telling you everything I've been through. I was vomiting. It was awful. I went through hell and back. I was in the hospital. I was in the emergency room on fluids for dehydration, for nausea, for vomiting, for pain. When you saw me for about 4 or 5 months, it looked like track marks. I looked like a walking junkie, and it was during the summertime, and I was so embarrassed to even go to the doctor, and they couldn't even find spots to put needles in and take my blood anymore. They had to poke through bruises because I was having so much blood taken. So many IVs were putting in through here, and it was so painful after a while because they just had to keep poking through bruise after bruise after bruise, and I couldn't look. It was nauseating on its own at that point because just looking at my arms, it was disgusting. And then the second round of prepping for the colonoscopy prep was actually for a colonoscopy because at that point they wanted to rule out colon cancer. And that one was awful. I got through, I think it was the 3rd or the 4th drink, and then I just threw up everywhere because I was so blocked, like literally blocked, that my stomach couldn't even handle any more at that point. So when I took the drink, everything came up everywhere, and the doctor rushed me for the colonoscopy. So I saw the specialist on a Wednesday afternoon, and he rushed me for a Friday first thing in the morning. So I had less than 36 hours to do my colonoscopy prep, and it was intensive and it was hell. I essentially didn't even get to sleep for the 36 hours because I had to keep doing the prep the entire time because it wasn't 36 hours. I essentially had like 24 hours to do a 36-hour prep in. By the time I got back from the specialist, because it was a 2-hour drive away, and then got the meds from the pharmacy, got home, and then I started taking it right away. But it was unbelievable. And then the worst part about the colonoscopy, I gotta check my time. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this and start it again. So the worst part was that they told me that I would be in, like a twilight anesthetic, so I wasn't going to be completely knocked out under general anesthetic, but that I would be knocked out and not remember anything. I wouldn't feel anything. It was just keeping me, you know, with it enough so that way they could maneuver my body, because they have to put me on my side, they have to manipulate the body, but they said you're essentially under, like, don't worry about it. And I told them that I was freaking out because of my past and the abuse that I went through, and then I had a male doctor doing it too, and he was wonderful, but I was having really horrific flashbacks, obviously. So they injected something in the IV for my nerves, and something to stop with the nausea. And then they're like, okay, we're putting in the first round, and then they're like, you know, you should start feeling something. And then they did the second round and the third round, and then they're like, are you still not feeling anything? Because I'm having like full-blown conversations with the doctor, the anesthesiologist, and the nurses in the room. And I'm like, no, I don't feel anything. And remember, I'm completely starved at this point, because you can't eat, you can't drink. I've been cleared out of my system. So they put the 4th dose in, 5th dose in, 6th dose in, and at that point the doctors are like, we have maxed you out for the local anesthetic. We cannot put another dose in you. So at this point you need to decide if you want to just go through with the colonoscopy awake, or if you want to reschedule and do the general anesthetic where you'll be completely knocked out. And I had gone through so much at that point that I could not go through a 3rd prep. And then, mind you, it's also 4 hours round trip of driving, and it was just the worst thing that I had gone through, because I was so sick with so many other ailments as well. It wasn't just the colon. I wasn't just having a colonoscopy. So I made the decision to just do it awake, because it was only going to be a 30 to 45 minute procedure. So I thought, I have 30 to 45 more minutes of suffering versus another 36 hours of suffering, and the drive back home and everything else that will be accumulating on top of it. I'm happy that I got it over with, but that was also, like, it was just a lose-lose, because it was a horrible decision. I felt every single thing that was happening during that colonoscopy. Every time the scope was moving, I could feel it moving. They took 15 biopsies. I felt every single biopsy. When they had to roll me on my side and the nurse had to push on my stomach while they were moving the scope and pinching and taking the biopsy, I felt every single pinch, every single movement. It was excruciating. At one point during the colonoscopy, I told them I'm going to throw up because the pain was so bad. The nurse had to run and get a garbage can and put the garbage can along the bed, the surgery bed, and then they had to put more anti-nausea medication in the IV, and this was just a nightmare. So I made it through there, and the good news was that I didn't have colon cancer, and, you know, we cleared me out, but then the inflammation was so bad that it just took months for my intestines to heal. And then it was on to the next specialist, which found out that I had a failing gallbladder, an underactive thyroid, a very high deficiency of vitamin D, which, I mean, I was expecting a deficiency because I don't go in the sun, but it was like a really severe level of the vitamin D deficiency. I also have some kind of weird blood disorder because I'm constantly bruising. I wake up in the morning and I have like 5 new bruises on my body that are completely unexplainable. We have no idea, and my body is apparently running very high on the toxicity levels, and I'm having some kind of autoimmune reaction that we don't know what's going on, because I'm getting these boils that look like these really exaggerated pimples that are popping up on my face, my neck, my chest, my arms, my stomach, my legs. I mean, I have like scarring now. You can see that spot. They're all like, I have little spots all over on my face. That was a boil, that are actually scarring my skin now on my chest. So we're trying to figure out what's going on, and they will be like these huge boils, and they are so painful. I mean, clothing touching it hurts. So we don't know what is going on that front. Oh my gosh, there's just so much. So they also did a very comprehensive blood workup and a stool workup. I actually just got a call that they have more results that are in, so I have to call tomorrow to find out, and I have to book a follow-up appointment, so I actually have more information still coming in. Can you believe that? Like, it's still coming in. So I'm still waiting for more information on what that's going to reveal. Maybe it's going to help with the hematomas or the boils or something. I don't know. I also have like 60% pre-cancer cells in my face and chest from sunbathing all those years. So I did a laser treatment to help take care of that, but they didn't get it all, so I have to do one more follow-up treatment. I have like huge spots of pre-cancer cells in my face here, over my nose. I had a huge one on my chin, on my forehead. I had a big one on my chest here, big one down here. So I had some huge spots, and that also runs in the family. So I'm getting the pre-cancer taken care of. I had a mammogram done as well, and it showed that I have the highest breast density tissue, so I'm at a high risk for breast cancer. So I have to maintain mammograms now, and that was good to know. So I mean, it ruled out that I don't have breast cancer, but it showed that I am a candidate for a high likelihood of developing breast cancer down the future because of my high density of breast tissue. So I do have to be on the lookout for that. I've had multiple CT scans, 4 ultrasounds. I can't even tell you how many x-rays I've had. The amount of blood draws I've lost count of at this point. I had a number for you guys a couple months ago. Now I have no clue. I've been to 5 different hospitals and then other independent facilities. I've seen 8 specialists, and I have 3 more specialists already on the books that I have not even seen yet. It's been one of the hardest, most draining, obviously physically and emotionally, even mentally, like a roller coaster, just not even ups, just downs and downs and downs. It was just the degree of downs that I've had in my life this year. It's been going on, like I said, since June, but really hard since July. When we flew to BeautyCon in July, I was struggling so hard, and I didn't let on to anybody the struggles that I was having. I was throwing up after the event. I was throwing up after I went out with the owner of Glamlight Cosmetics. A lot of it had to do with the stomach issues. I was so fortunate that Lancome invited Kurt and myself to go to New York City for a major event that I'm going to tell you guys all about in a separate video. And I barely made it to New York. I was so ill, not like flu ill, just all of the stuff I was talking to you guys about. That I didn't even know how I was going to attend the 3-hour event once we landed. I didn't know how I was going to make it to New York. Once I got to New York, I was so sick. It was unbelievable. I made it through the 3-hour event, and then when I got back into the hotel room, I started throwing up immediately. Nobody at the event knew how sick I was during the event. I powered through it and I had a blast. I truly did. I had so much fun, but I was in so much pain during it, and Lancome spoiled me rotten, and I cannot wait to tell you guys all about it and what happened, and it was just magical, and they are such a family unit. It was amazing. And then unfortunately after that, I was invited to a couple of BH Cosmetics launch parties and Glamlight Cosmetic launch parties, and I was in the hospital by that point, so I couldn't make it to LA. I'm very lucky that New York is less than an hour of a plane ride away. Otherwise, I don't even know how I would have made it to New York. But LA being 5 hours away, essentially 4 hours away, the time change, and it's a lot harder on the system when you're that sick too. But then I was also in the hospital. I was living in hospitals during the 4 different events that were taking place for Glamlight and BH, that I just couldn't make it to the launch parties, and it broke my heart that I couldn't make it. And I was so grateful to be invited and so devastated that we couldn't go. Truly devastated, because I love those 2 companies so much, and I was so grateful for the invitation, and the fact that I couldn't make it was just awful. So I already told you guys about my grandpa. I'm just looking over all of my notes because I really wanted to make sure that I was able to tell you guys absolutely everything that went on. Okay, so I did cover all of the symptoms. So as it stands, I'm on some new medications, and we took care of some of the stomach issues. We're dealing with other issues. We've ruled out some diseases. We're still waiting on more tests. I'm having further testing done. I'm seeing some more specialists. I'm still working through therapy. And the good news is that I'm back. And I had a flu for 3 weeks, and that transitioned into the 19-day migraine. Otherwise, I would have been back about a month, a little over a month sooner, but I was so extremely sick. I had never had a flu like that in my life, and then that migraine was just unbelievable. I spoke to a doctor. I went to see a new cosmetic surgeon to talk to him if he can do the Botox for migraines, because that requires Botox all the way around your head, and I'm terrified to have it where if they inject you into the forehead and then you end up with like a droopy eye. I mean, I know that it eventually wears off. Botox isn't permanent, but when you're going to a migraine person, they're not treating it, you know, cosmetically. But when I went and talked to the cosmetic surgeon, he said he doesn't treat for migraines. He just does, you know, cosmetic. He was able to feel my jaw, and I was opening and closing my mouth, and he put a little bit of Botox like into my jaw. So that was just done a couple days ago, and it takes 7 to 10 days. So hopefully that's going to help with the jaw, because I was still in the major migraine mode, and he was like, wow, and he just had me keep opening and closing my jaw, and he couldn't believe how swollen my jaw was. So he just put some right into the jaw muscles, and he said, you know, let's see if that works, because he has no problem working with that, but he can't do the type of migraine work that requires you going around the head and injecting in the neck and all of that. So he recommended a place. So I'm going to check that out in January when I get back from my vacation, and just hope that that is a solution that works for me, because I've tried so many different like pill medications, and if something like Botox can do the trick, I would rather go that way than more pills, because I don't want to take any more medication. So I'm really thinking of pursuing that option and hoping that that works. And then my flare-ups should start coming to a lesser and lesser degree. Now that my stress can ease up, my RA won't flare up as much, and then I can get back in the gym, and then my fibromyalgia will, you know, ease up and then go away completely, and, you know, every piece will kind of come back together, and then I'll get back onto a normal daily living healthy routine again, so my life can get pieced back together again. So I'm really looking forward to a new year. Like, I can't even tell you guys. We're gonna be ringing in 2019 like no other. I want to leave all of this behind me, and I just want a brand new year. All this medical and the sadness and everything left behind, and I just want to bang out 2019 and make it an amazing year, and this be our year to shine and have a full year of filming instead of only half of a year of filming. I feel like we need to change the anniversary date to like January now instead of July, because I like had my anniversary and then that was it for 6 months. Oh my gosh, but you guys, thank you so much for sticking by, not unsubscribing, checking in, waiting for updates from Kurt on the blog posts, and waiting for videos, caring so much, having your support, all your well wishes, just everything. It meant the world to me. Kurt would read me messages when I couldn't read them myself. He would read me emails, and just everything that was incoming. You know, no matter what place I was at, no matter how much pain I was in, it was enough to just pick me up and put a smile on my face and warm my heart. And the fact that you guys just stood by me all this time, the gratitude and love I have for you guys, I cannot even begin to explain it to you. It is so overwhelming, and I just wish that I could hug and squeeze every single one of you for the amount of love you've shown me, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it truly made a world of difference during my recovery and my downtime. And it just, I don't know what I would have done without you guys during the last 6 months, because you truly kept me smiling, and you let me know that I was needed and wanted, and that I had a channel to come back to, and that you guys were missing me, and that it was mutual, because I was missing you guys so much. So to know that like we both needed each other, and we were both wanting each other, like it was just so heartwarming. So I hope that you guys have all been doing so well, that you guys haven't had to deal with any tragedies. and my mouth is drying up now from talking so much, that you've all managed to stay safe during any of the natural disasters that have been going on across the US, anywhere in the world, anywhere that you guys are located. I hope that every single one of you, all of your family members, all of your friends, acquaintances, your furry babies, your kids, everybody, that everyone has maintained safety, health, well-being, everything during the last 6 months. And just know that I was thinking of all of you guys, and I was dying to film, and it was killing me not to film and not be in touch with you guys. And anytime something bad was going on in the world, I was immediately thinking of which one of you was located in that state or this state or that part of the world, and just hoping and praying that you guys were safe. And so just let me know down below that everybody's been doing well, and just know that I've been missing you as much as you've been missing me, and I've just been so happy that you guys have been standing by. So that is it for this video, and I have filmed 2 other videos, and I'm gonna try to get a few more videos underway over the next couple of days, so just be on the lookout for that. But I am going away, so the timing does suck, but I'm gonna be back full force come January, and I can't wait to see what the new year brings all of us. So until next time, good night, good morning, wherever you are. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.